from everywhere, whatever you're into. Nate was into Transformers with a couple of friends. So he has that world where, he's thinking, he looks at the bear guys. The bear guys are a blank template for a ton of stuff. Go ahead. Electronics. How many of you guys mess with electronics in your kids? So we play with LEDs, magnetic switches, and microprocessors. So here's a handy dandy chart that Mike Wine put up when he was building a Macross kit with a bunch of those different lights. Since all the lights had different colors and there are different voltages and whatnot, he had to do a lot of math to get everything working correctly.
Yeah, you just basically plug in, you see the upper picture, upper right there, you just plug in your source voltage. Your diode forward voltage is actually the voltage that the LED runs on, your current milliamps, and you'll find all that stuff on the left picture there. It shows you every single color LED and what those are. So you plug in those numbers, how many LEDs you have, and all that stuff, and it'll actually design your array for you. Go to that link, and you can plug it in and hit Design My Array, and it'll tell you exactly where you need to put the resistors, what the rate or resistance ratings they are, and makes it really, really, really simple for you.
Go ahead. So another thing is cutting out these thrusters and putting LEDs in. This is a very, very simple way of doing that. All I did was drill a hole into the thruster, stuck an LED, powered it up, and I'm done. Very, very simple to do. A little bit more complex. So Sazabi has a bunch of thrusters all over it. Some of the thrusters are very, very small. So what I ended up doing is I made copies of it because I'm Chinese, I like the pirate stuff. I made casts or resin copies of it, right? And I actually casted the LEDs inside the resin so that when I had this, pirated piece of the kit, it had the LEDs. All I had to do is wire it up, and the LEDs were there. So another thing you could do is you could put a microprocessor in there. So how many of you guys ever play with Arduino or any of that stuff? Nice. So you can use this in your Gundam kits too. So what I did was let's see if this works. Is there a video? So does this play? So there's a video here of this, and it has a Bluetooth reader on it. So what happens is I controlled it with my phone. I turned it on, and I can turn on the different lights, and then I have the two Xeon suits communicating with each other using Morse code. And that's actually a full-on Morse code conversation between the two.
I was built by a moron.
Yeah, question back there.
What are they talking about?
So they're just basically saying, hey, I've arrived at the base. Okay, I'm taking care of these two dummies here, and we'll soon take over the world. I forget what it says, but you can sit here and, figure it out. You had a question.
That panel was one where Kobe explains how he thinks about things before he does them.
I don't think about things. I just think it's kind of shut up. That's cool. No, but you're absolutely right. But I took the idea from Igloo, where Char came up and just blinked at the bridge. So yes, he was looking at each other.
It's to perplex the GM drivers. Just what?
The Zoc actually has eyes around, right? You ever watch some of those mobile suit things? They actually have sensors all around it, so you don't actually have to be looking at your friend to communicate with them, right? That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. There's a question back there. Okay, that was done with clear resin too. The water waves, that was done with clear resin, and there's a product you can buy from Woodland Scenics called Water Effects. And what this stuff looks like is a tube of toothpaste, and you just draw it along, and you take a brush and you just draw in those peaks, and it dries like that. All you have to do is take a brush and paint it, and you're done. So it's if you're curious about that, we can talk more about that. But we're just gonna try to finish up before they kick us out of here. Scratch building and masking fun. So resin conversion kits. How many of you guys have ever messed with the resin conversion kit? So thank God Bandai's not in here because resin conversion kits are expensive. Resin dust is horrible for you. Sometimes Bandai doesn't have details that you want, or Bandai doesn't even make that kit. So here's a kit that took me 8 years to build, not because it was hard, because I was lazy. So how difficult is it? There's a level of difficulty because it's not like a Bandai kit where you shake the box and the kit comes out, done. There's a lot of parts that don't fit right, so what you see here is a lot of, go back please. What you see here is a lot of gluing and putting plot plate to make sure everything fits. Resin is very, very soft, so if you over sand, you end up filling it up with plastic again. You'll have dents in the plastic, you'll have broken pieces, so let me go over that. So what you see here, you see some warping in this. And the guy that had a question about the putty, this is a light curing putty that I use here. So if you go to the next slide, here's more light curing putty. Now if you look at the original part, how many of you guys see a dent in that part? So when you buy a kit from Bandai, it doesn't really have dents in it. So that needed to be fixed. So I filled it up with some light curing putty. Light curing putty cures under light in about a minute or so. So once it cures, I can wipe it and sand it and then check it. And keep sanding and checking it. So that you'll get to a point where you could, so you get to a point where you could reprime it and you get rid of that dent. Go ahead. Broken pieces. So some of these delicate pieces like thrusters will break off. So again, I use light curing putty to rebuild that part. How difficult is it? It's not that difficult, but it's labor intensive and it drives you insane. It's great. And it took me 8 years. Sometimes Bandai does stuff like this where it's a very, very bad looking design because they want to plug in that the effect parts to it. So I didn't care for that. So what I did was I wanted to build my own detail to it. So I used these parts, created my own master of it. I made a mold of it. I made copies of it. And then if you go to the next slide, you'll see the difference between that and this. It looks a lot better than what Bandai originally gave us, right? So it's a small amount of detail, and unless you're looking to it, you're not going to notice it. But it's one of those things that as model builders, no, bad.
It's all right.
Again, metal thrusters are expensive, so I made copies of it and constantly using this. Again, Mike Wine kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, using wrapping wires. And these HG kits come with these crappy vinyl cables. I just took some cabling and replaced them, wrapped some wire around it, stuck some metal tubes around it, and made it look a lot better. So this is a comparison between, after I modded it and before I modded it. Some of you guys have seen like hobby or models build or modelers build those heat sinks. So it's very, very simple to build these heat sinks. You just slap a bunch of plastic together. The method I use here, I slapped a bunch of plastic together and I start sanding it to get that shape. Now there's a better, well, not necessarily a better way, but a different way to do that is using a cutting tool. Do we have time for a video? Oh, look at that, it's in fast motion. So what this thing is called, it's called the Chopper 2. So it's, someone earlier had a question about using a cardstock template. So what I did here was I cut individual small pieces and then glue them together to create one sheet. So once I have these cut up, I'm creating like one side of that radiator or heatsink. Hopefully this sort of makes sense.
Go.
How I did this in the essence of time.
A lot of caffeine.
Yes. So basically, these are 3 different individual pieces that I built and glued together, so that makes one of the sides. Once I'm done with that, I can glue all those individual sides together and create my radiator piece.
Benny Hill theme going.
We have this video on our YouTube channel as well, so it's a little bit more, it's slowed down and there's actually me talking through it. So this will make a little bit more sense. That blade is very, very sharp. It will take fingers off. It's awesome.
Small fingers.
I bring these guys back over. Here, come here, let me show you this new too. Ah!
That was like half a Clem's finger off.
That was a fat joke, wasn't it? That's not very nice. I'm telling my mom. So this cutting tool has actually, various different angle templates that you can use to line up your parts and cut several different angles out. So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting angles for individual pieces before I glue them together. This will sort of make sense as I get, this done. The silence is killing me. This is all ages, right? No.
Fresh out.
So I used a different angle piece. So I'm carefully cutting off those pieces. So you can see that I have 3 distinct pieces that are cutting out. I have 4 sets here, 4 sets there, and 4 sets there. So once I have all, 4 sets of the 3 pieces, I can put them together with glue. 5 minutes? We have 5 minutes until we get out of here. This is, yeah, you guys are really long-winded. So if you see what I'm doing here, I'm gluing these pieces together to make one, masterpiece. I'm gluing the rest of the pieces together. Now it's really fast. Holy crap. So it's starting to make sense to you guys, right? Basically, it's like Legos. You start with one Lego piece, another Lego piece, another Lego piece, and start putting that stuff together.
That is for people who don't have kids.
I have Legos. I don't have kids.
No, I mean, what you're doing is for people who don't have kids.
Oh, you can do this in one night. It's easy.
If you don't have kids.
One part of one model in one night.
So now I have all 4 pieces that are glued together. Now I can just glue individual pieces together to create that heat sink. So you see at the lower hand corner, I created another one earlier that I used as an example. What the heck am I? So I'm cutting strips that are going to lay on the bottom of that those 4 pieces that I glued together. That will give me the spacing between each individual piece. Once I have that done, I can start gluing everything together. Glue, assemble. Glue, assemble. And it's pretty simple. Hopefully I don't glue my fingers together. Huh?
Are you made of plastic?
No, but the things stick to my fingers or I get fingerprints on them. There's logic to it. How long is this video? I use this as like time filler, but
We're just running out the clock at this point. We're out of things to say.
actually there's quite a bit left in this. Do we have time for Q&A?
Shirts.
We have shirts to sell if you guys want to buy shirts from us. Just saying. So this is what it looks like once you're completed with it. Now you can stick it flat onto a part like so, or actually a comparison. Or what you could do is you could take a piece of tubing and wrap it around the tubing. And when you wrap it around the tubing, you can fan it out. So you actually have a cone shape to that radiator. So that's what I'm going to do now is I glued it to this tube piece, and I'm just going to fan it out because the glue is still kind of weak, so I could kind of fan it out a little bit and make that final shape. Once that's done, I have that radiator piece that kind of cone shaped. See, that was quick. Huh? Okay, have everyone next to that way. All right, I think we ran out of time. You guys want to? Huh? Sorry, guys, we're running over schedule.
Mentioning shirts, we have shirts in the bag. If you go outside, get that going.